If you need to pass GED math, knowing how to beat slope and functions questions can boost your score. And we're going to walk through several examples of both in this video to help you master these topics so you can hopefully pass faster and move ahead to bigger and better things. And we're starting now.
Suppose Derek sells coffee mugs and records how much he charges for 1 to 5 coffee mugs in the chart below. Derek writes the following function. Cost equals number of coffee mugs times 8. What is the cost of 9 coffee mugs? Please disregard sales tax in your answer. So now's your chance if you'd like to pause the video, try this question out, and whenever you're ready, unpause the video, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so let's go over this question here. So we know that cost equals the number of coffee mugs times $8. And we want to find the cost of 9 coffee mugs. So what I'm going to do is do 9 times 8. And when I do that, I get 72. So the answer here is $72. C is the correct answer. Using the function y equals 14x minus 10, what is the value of y when x equals 5? Is the answer A, B, C, or D? So now's your chance if you'd like to pause the video, try to figure this out, take all the time you need, and whenever you're ready, just unpause the video and we'll go over it. Okay, so let's talk about this question here. So what I want to do here is take 5, and I'm going to plug it in for x, because I know that x equals 5 here in this question. So I'm going to rewrite this y equals 14x minus 10, but when I rewrite it, instead of writing the x, I'm going to put 5 in place of the x. Now, when you go to take your test or when you're practicing, it's up to you to decide if you want to write each step out like this or not. For teaching purposes, I'm going to write out each step here. But the key here, again, is to substitute 5 in for x. So when I rewrite it, I have y equals 14 times 5 minus 10. Now, 14 times 5 is 70, and 70 minus 10 equals 60. So the correct answer here is B, 60. What is the slope of a straight line that contains the points 3, 11 and 8, 22? And on screen, I've provided the formula for slope of a line. Its slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And just know that on your test, you can get this formula on the formula sheet. I'm just providing it here with the question for the sake of time since we're just practicing. So let me give you a chance now if you'd like to pause the video, give this one a shot, and if you're not sure how to do it, absolutely no worries because we're just going to go over it. Okay, so let's talk about this question here. So I like to start off by labeling the numbers. So we've got a pair here. We have 3 and we have 11. And the first number in a pair is always an x. So I'm going to call this 3x1. And the second number in the pair is always a y. So I'm going to call this 11y1. So now I come over here to 822. So I'm going to call this 8x2 because the first number in a pair is always an x. And I've already called 3x1. So I'm going to call the 8 here x2. Now this 22 here is going to be a y because the second number in the pair is always a y. So I'm going to call it y2 because I've already called 11y1. So now that I have them labeled, I'm just going to plug these numbers in here into this formula. So m means slope, so I have slope equals y2, and I know that my y2 is 22 minus y1, and I know that my y1 is 11. Now I'm going to put this over x2 minus x1. Now my x2 I know is 8, and my x1 I know is 3. So now that I have this set up, 22 minus 11 is 11. 8 minus 3 is 5. So the answer here is D, 11 over 5. Each term in the second row of the table below is determined by the function y equals 8x minus 10. There is one box with a missing number. Which number goes in the box? Is the answer A, B, C, or D? So now's your chance if you'd like to pause the video, try to figure this out, take all the time you need, and whenever you're ready, just unpause the video and we'll talk about it. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is take 4 and I'm going to plug it in for x. So I'm going to rewrite y equals 8x minus 10, but when I rewrite it, instead of writing the x, I'm going to put 4 in. So I'm going to rewrite this and I'll have 8 times 4 minus 10. Now, what is 8 times 4? 8 times 4 is 32. And 32 minus 10 is 22. So we get A as the final answer. Y equals 22. What is the equation of the line that has a slope of -3 and passes through the point 5, 32? Now on screen here I have the formula. It's point slope form of the equation of a line. Y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. And you could find this formula on the formula sheet when you go in to take your test. I'm just providing it now for the sake of time since we're just practicing. So if you'd like to, now's your chance to pause the video, give this one a shot, and whenever you're ready, just unpause it and we'll go over it. Okay, so I'm going to start off by labeling the numbers here. So the first number in the pair is an x. So I'm going to call 5x1. And the second number in the pair is a y. So I'm going to call this y1. Now down here in the formula where I see y1, I'm going to plug in 32. And over here where I see x1, I'm going to plug in 5. So I'm going to rewrite this and I'm going to plug in 32 and 5. Oh, and I should also mention that we know that the slope is -3, so I can also take this -3 and plug it in for slope right here. So when I rewrite this, I'm also going to write -3 for slope. So I have my x minus x1, and again, the x1 is 5. So now what I'm going to do, now that I have this set up, is add 32 to both sides. Now, the reason why I add 32 to both sides is because over here on the left-hand side of the equations, the 32's cancel out. So when I rewrite it, I'll have y equals -3 times x minus 5 plus 32. So the next move I'm going to make here is to distribute the -3. So -3 times x gives me -3x, and -3 times minus 5 gives me plus 15, and I still have this plus 32. So what I'm going to do for my last step here is add 15 and 32. So when I rewrite this, I have y equals -3x plus 47, because 15 plus 32 is 47. So the correct answer here is B. Which of the following sequences of values of a could be created using the function a equals 12b minus 32? So now's your chance, if you'd like to pause the video, try this out, take all the time you need, and then whenever you're ready, just unpause the video and we'll go over it. So I'm going to start off here by testing different numbers for b. So I'm going to test 1, 2, 3, and 4 for b. So if you're not sure what I mean, let me show you. So I'm going to first start off by plugging in 1 for b. So I'll do 12 times 1 minus 2. So 12 times 1 is 12, minus 2 is 10. So when I test 1, when I plug 1 in for b, I see that a equals 10. Okay, so now let's test 2. So 12 times 2 is 24, minus 2 is 22. So it looks like the answer is either A or D so far. So let's try 3 now. So let's plug in 3 for B. So 12 times 3 gives me 36, minus 2 gives me 34. So at this point, we don't need to test 4 because we can already see that A is the correct answer here, because we see that we have 34 here, and down here in D, we see that we have 28 here, but we can test 4 anyway just for repetition. So 12 times 4 is 48, minus 2 is 46. So the correct answer here is A.
What is the slope of the line represented by the equation 7x plus 2y equals 9? Now, for the sake of time, I've provided the formula y equals mx plus b right here on screen, and on your test, you can find this formula on the formula sheet. I'm just giving it to you now for the sake of time since we're just practicing. So let me give you a chance now if you'd like to pause the video, try to figure this out, take all the time you need, and then whenever you're ready, just unpause the video and we'll talk about it. Okay, so I have this 7x plus 2y equals 9, and what I want to do here is make some moves to try to get it to look like this, y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to start off by subtracting 7x on both sides. Why am I doing this? Well, 7x minus 7x cancels out, and I'll have just 2y by itself on the left-hand side of the equation. But whatever I do to one side, I also have to do to the other. So I'm going to subtract 7x over here as well. Now, 9 minus 7x is the same as negative 7x plus 9. So instead of writing this as 2y equals 9 minus 7x, I'm going to write it as negative 7x plus 9. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I want to try to make this look like this, y equals mx plus b. So now what I want to do is try to get the y by itself, because right now I have 2y. So I'm going to divide by 2 over here. And when I do that, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I'll be left with just y on the left-hand side. So what I want to do over here is also divide by 2. So I can write it like this, negative 7x plus 9 divided by 2. Or I can break it up like this, negative 7x divided by 2 plus 9 divided by 2. So as we can see here, I have this negative 7 over 2 times x, and that's my slope. So I see that the final answer here is A. What is the slope of a line that is perpendicular to 6x plus 7y equals 9? Now, I've included this formula down below, and you'll be able to go to the formula sheet to find that when you take your test, but for the sake of time, I've provided it now on screen. So whenever you're ready, you can pause the video, take all the time you need, and then whenever you're ready, just unpause this and we'll talk about it. So the first step here is to find the slope. So how do we do that? Well, what we're going to do is take this 6x plus 7y equals 9, and we're going to make some moves to try to make it look like this, y equals mx plus b. So the first move that I'm going to make here is to subtract 6x from both sides. Now when I do this, 6x minus 6x cancels out over here. So when I rewrite this, I'll have 7y equals negative 6x plus 9. Right, so again, I subtracted 6x from both sides. So over here, I'd have 9 minus 6x, which is the same as negative 6x plus 9. So I'm just writing it like this because I want to try to make this 7y equals negative 6x plus 9 look like y equals mx plus b. So the next step is to divide by 7 on both sides. So 7 divided by 7 gives me 1. 1 times y is just y. Now I want to divide by 7 over here as well. So I can rewrite negative 6x plus 9 over 7 as negative 6 over 7x plus 9 over 7. So what is my slope? Well, the slope is negative 6 over 7. What I want to do now is take the opposite reciprocal. So what that means is that I want to take this fraction, this 6 over 7, and I want to flip it upside down so it becomes 7 over 6. And since it was negative, it becomes positive. So again, what I did was I found the slope. The slope is negative 6 over 7, and then I found the opposite reciprocal. And the way that I did that was by flipping that fraction upside down and changing it to positive. So the answer here is C. So just to recap, the strategy for a question like this is to first find the slope, and then you're going to take the opposite reciprocal. And in this case, we did that by flipping the fraction upside down and changing the negative into a positive. So C is the correct answer here. Which table below represents a function? Is it A, B, C, or D? So now's your chance, if you'd like to pause the video, try to figure this one out, take all the time you need, and then whenever you're ready, just unpause the video and we'll talk about it. Now, one important thing to know about functions is that a function has exactly one output for each input. A function has exactly one output for each input. So it's important to remember that a function has exactly one output for each input. Now, you might be getting sick of me repeating that a function has exactly one output for each input, but I'm repeating it because it's very, very important. So for this question here, what does that mean exactly? Well, I've got an x and I've got a y. And if we look at answer choice A, for example here, the numbers underneath the x, these are the inputs, and the numbers under the y, these are the outputs. And we know that a function has exactly one output for each input. So what I want to do is look at my inputs here, and I want to see if the same number shows up twice. So in this case here, I see that 4 shows up twice. Now we know that a function has exactly one output for each input. So for this to be a function, the 4's would have to have the same output. Now in this case, we see that this 4 has an output of 16, and this 4 has an output of -6. So A is not a function because a function has exactly one output for each input. So we'll take A out here. So let's look at B. So in this case, I see that 5 shows up twice. For this 5 right here, the output is 13. So for this to be a function, this 5 down here would also have to have an output of 13, but that's not the case because right here we see that for this 5 here, the output is 32. So B is not a function. And remember, a function has exactly one output for each input. Now, when I look at C, I see that all of the inputs are different. So all of the numbers under the x are different. So C is the function, I can tell that, but let's go through D anyway just for extra practice. Now for D, we see that we have two 2's, but these 2's have different outputs, right? So this 2 right here has an output of 4, and this 2 down here has an output of 3. So a function has exactly one output for each input. In this case, when 2 is the input, we see that there are 2 different outputs. So D is not the correct answer here, and C is the correct answer here. In my opinion, the one that we're going to go over next is the hardest question in the video. And if you disagree and you think a different question was harder, if you want to, please let me know down below in the comments. So without further ado, let's get into this video's Champions Challenge question. What is the equation of a line that passes through the points -4, -12, and -1, 6? Now, for the sake of time, I've provided 2 formulas here. This one is slope of a line, and this one is point slope form of the equation of a line. And on your test, you'll be able to find these formulas on the formula sheet. I'm just providing them now for the sake of time, since we're just practicing. So let me give you a chance now, if you'd like to pause the video, try to figure this out, take all the time you need, and then whenever you're ready, just unpause the video, and we'll go over it. Okay, so to start off this question, the first thing I want to do is find the slope. So I'm going to label my points here. So the first number, if I just look at this first pair here, the first number is always going to be an x. So I'm going to call the -4 x1. Now the second number in the pair is always a y, so I'm going to call -12 y1. Now I'm going to come over to -1 and 6 here. And the first number in the pair is always an x, and since I already used x1, I'm going to call this -1 x2. The second number in the pair is always a y, and since I used y1, I'm going to call this 6 y2. So now I'm going to use the formula for slope here. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now I know that my y2 is 6, and my y1 is -12. So since the formula says minus y1, minus -12 is the same as plus 12, right? Because minus a negative is the same as plus. So I have 6 plus 12. Now down here, I would do x2 minus x1. So I'll have -1 minus -4, which is the same as plus 4. So 6 plus 12 is 18. -1 plus 4 is 3. And 18 divided by 3 equals 6. So my slope is 6. So now that I know the slope, I'm going to come down to this point slope form of the equation of a line. And I'm just going to plug in the numbers to start us off here. So I write my y minus y1, and we know that y1 is negative 12. So minus negative 12 is the same as plus 12. So I have y plus 12 equals my slope, and we know that the slope is 6 times x minus x1. Now we know that my x1 is negative 4, so x minus negative 4 is the same as x plus 4. So here we go. We've got y plus 12 equals 6, parenthesis, x plus 4, parenthesis. So what I'm going to do is subtract 12 on both sides. So I subtract 12 on both sides, and I'm going to rewrite this. So when I rewrite, I'll have y equals 6 times x plus 4 minus 12. And next, what I'm going to do is distribute the 6. So what I mean by that is I'm going to do 6 times x, which is 6x. Then I'm going to do 6 times 4. And 6 times 4 is 24. And then I still have this minus 12. So to finish out here, what I'm going to do is 24 minus 12. So 24 minus 12 is positive 12. So the answer is y equals 6x plus 12. So C is the correct answer here.